Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Now this message is going to be for the people on my channel who are actually parents. All right. Y'all, last night I feel like I was in so many different places last night. Okay, like I don't know. It's like I had so many different dreams that was taking place last night, y'all. Um, Let me get some water real quick. But I remember there was like a parent here, a mother figure, feminine, who was dealing with like a daughter. And basically the message was God was saying, let her go. Let her be. Okay, so whoever this message is for, and if you hear the iron in the background, please excuse that, y'all. The woman, sorry, the woman, she was being instructed to basically let her daughter go. Okay, so you may have a situation where maybe your daughter wants to go off to a specific college. Maybe she wants to go off to and follow a specific career. Maybe she wants to, move in with someone, buy a home with someone, live with her boyfriend or something like that. But God was just basically telling me to tell you on here is to let her go, let her explore, let her be who she feels like she wants to be. Yes, you're there to guide them up until they get to a certain age, but you can be the best, greatest parent in the world. But even with you being like that and trying to smother your children, it will make them even more naive and curious to, what's out there in the world. So, instead, you kind of just meet them where they at. All right, you want to go live here? Cool. Just know that my house is going to be open if things don't work out. This is what you should tell your child. Like, okay, you want to go live with your boyfriend? All right, just know that I'll be here when you're ready to come back home. Or don't think that you can never come back home. You know what I'm saying? I'll be here, but I'm going to let you go ahead and explore and see if this is what you really like and this is really what you want to partake in. The reason for this and how you're actually helping your child by doing this is you're helping them to make wiser decisions, knowing that you're backing them up. Like, you're not really just like backing them up, but you support and love them no matter what they may choose to do. Sometimes children need to hear this from their parents because, some of them are rebels, or it's not even rebels. Sometimes people just want to do different things. They may not want to do, what you're used to or what the family has been doing, and this child may have been created for a bigger reason than what you may think it is. God could have actually created this child to be the one in the family that is different, that's doing different, going in a different direction or whatever like that. It doesn't mean that they're going to fail. They just may get there a different way. Okay, and in this dream, this was a parent that was kind of like, on them too hard, and it almost seemed like they were enabling some of the things because they didn't want to like really free this child. Sometimes we got to just let people go out into the world and see that things ain't as smooth like ice cream like they think. People think because they've been in your house living with you, it's cheap and it's easy, and they can do it, they can afford it, and then they get their own place and then they think it's just rent. And it's like, no, you got to pay electric too, you got to pay water too, you got to keep groceries in the house, you got to take care of this, you got to, and it's like God is telling you to just let this person go out and explore. As long as they know that you are there to support them, if they do fall, that is good enough. God is like, I'm pleased with that, because you're not leaving your child astray. You're just letting them go to explore, because some of your children have become a butterfly, okay? Some of them have grown into their butterflies now, and they're ready to explore. They're ready to just go see what it is that they actually like, what they enjoy. And if you're trying to smother your child and, you got such a close eye onto them, especially when they're of age, this is for someone, your child is of age, okay? This is an 18-year-old that I'm speaking about. This is somebody definitely of age. So it's like, if you keep trying to smother them, they might end up being in a crazier situation than you can imagine because of them being smothered. and them having to sneak out and do things, and them not feeling comfortable coming to you to talk about things. Like, do parents still have the birds and bees conversation? I mean, granted, I don't think my mama ever had that conversation with me growing up. She probably should have, but she did not. Thankfully, I had other, like, adults in my life. I feel like, so they kind of, it takes a village. So, they kind of helped out wherever my mama didn't. But you have that conversation. Don't just avoid it, praying that they'll never deal with it. No, have that conversation. Teach your children what things should feel like, what things shouldn't feel like. Teach them, what's a good vibe that's entering into their life, so they know what to get closer to and what to run from. Teach your children that if a man treats you like this and it ain't right. If a man touches you in this way, what he's trying to do. Like, give your child game. Like, give them free game. You're here to, mold your child and give them all the advice and free game that you can give them until they're ready to go out on their own and explore. Right? We don't own these children. We don't own people at all. God is just lending them to us, and when he's ready for them to go off onto their own, we have to be able to release them and know that we have done what we needed to do to prepare them for the world. Okay, I'm not a parent yet, but I'm just speaking in that term so that you guys can really understand this message for those that are parents. All right. Even maybe you're not a parent, but you're a parent on the way, or a future parent, or you want to be a parent. This is good advice. Like, try not to baby people once they get to a certain age and they say they want to do something. Like, if you have a child that's like, oh, I want to go to the military, the army, or whatever, maybe this is something that you do not like, but if this is something that they're passionate and serious about, are you not going to support your child? Because if you're saying you're not, then you're doing it wrong. No, you should support your child. Tell your child, like, yo, this is scary for me. I don't really like this. Maybe they're the first one in your family to do this, so you're not even educated on this. You're like, I'm confused. I don't really know how this works, but if this is really what you want to do, then I love you and I support you. Just be there for your child, okay? Because their path is their path. Oh, excuse me, confirmation, y'all. Your path is your path. Everybody have to live a different path. Even if that is your child, God didn't make everybody to be the same. Your child may not have the same passions as you. Your child may not even look like you. The hell, your child may not even have your same hair color or eyes. Shit. Things are different when it comes to children, especially, in this day and age and at this time. Like, God is making children to be doing things differently than what, parents did, because he wants change. Some of our parents and stuff like that, they was afraid of changing with the world. People, we needed Wi-Fi, we needed internet service. And, some of us, we were like, yes, we need this. But now that we got it, some people are still afraid of it and still feel like, the change with the world is bad or whatever like that. AI is a little crazy and whatnot, but AI is also very helpful. If you have a business, if you edit videos, if you anything with your business, marketing or anything like that, like, it's actually very helpful. But at the same time, it could be very scary as well, because it could be taking people's jobs. You may not know what's real, what's fake. People can make and create videos and say whatever they want. It could seem like it's factual, but it's not. So I get how you could be a bit worried about it, but it is still, helpful. There's always good and bad. There's always pros and cons, okay? But anywho, this message is about someone that is a parent here, and God wants you to know that the more that you try to smother your child, the more they're going to rebel against you. You may not agree with everything they're doing, but understand that they are not you. You are not them. Okay, I want people to really understand that message. Like, even if you birth this child, they are not you. You are not them. Y'all are still different. Okay, everyone was created to be different. Okay, and when you see that your child is different, or when you see what your child is into or what they like, you should go towards that. You should support that. Like, say nobody in your family is into sports. You got a child, she's into volleyball. You don't know nothing about volleyball because nobody ever was into sports. They was more into, science and debate team and stuff like that, academics. What do? Do you tell your daughter no, she can't play a sport because nobody else played a sport? You want her to be on the debate team or be in academics, the science fair, instead of playing a sport? You feel like sports is not, it is not no learning in there or whatever your reason might be. No, you don't do that. You see that God has given you a gift and a blessing here. You have a child that is into a sport and this is what they like. So guess what? You be supportive. You be there for your child. It may not be what you're used to. Things may have to be different. God is probably tired of what you're used to. Do people ever think about that? Like, maybe God is bringing in something different and new into my family's life or into my life because maybe he's ready for a change. Do people ever think about that? I don't think people be thinking about that. Like, if all your children went to, college to do this, and this, and then you have one child that's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to do that. I want to start this business. This is my plan. And then you're looking at them like, well, you need to go to college. They went to college. Everybody, confirmation. Sometimes that's just not the path that was made by God for your child. As a parent, you just need to support and love your child. They may enter into relationships that you don't like, be around the wrong friends, work at shitty ass jobs, whatever that they're doing. You should still be there to let them know that you love and support them. They may deal with certain people. They may have sex and be sexual with certain people. It's not for you to be all up in their business about what they're doing. You're just there to guide them so that they're making smart choices. You're there to let them know, listen, before you lay down with somebody, you want protection. Before you lay down with somebody, you need to make sure that you know this person because you don't want to get an infection. You don't want to get a disease. You don't want to get sick. So make sure that you trust this person. Ask for test results or go to get tested with each other. Make sure somebody loves you before you actually lay down with them. This is the things. This is how you prepare them so that they know these things in the back of their mind and they know what to look out for and stuff, but they're still supposed to go out and live their own life. Prepare them and tell them, hey, this is how you do it. Hey, this is how you put on a condom to make sure that you're safe. Hey, listen, a man might be slick and act like he don't have condoms. You keep some condoms. You know what I'm saying? You have some on standby just in case if that's what you're into, that's what you want to do. Teach your child, like really teach your child in a way that you know that you do not own them, in a way that you know that they will have to go off and live their life, in a way that you know that God said that your children will go off and create their own families. Like the parents need to be focused more on their relationship rather than so much of the children, because the children is going to grow up and they're going to go on and create their own families, which God said in the Bible for them to do anyway. You leave your family and you go find you a wife, and then y'all have family, y'all have kids and whatever like that. You still keep in touch with your parents or whatever like that. But that is not your full responsibility anymore. Your responsibility is to pay attention to the kids that you have created with your wife that God has given you. You get what I'm saying? So as parents, we need to understand. I'm going to keep saying we just so that y'all can understand this message clearly. But everyone should know I am not a parent yet. All right. But as parents, we need to understand that children are just here to be taught by us. We should guide them, right? We should tell them, hey, if you step in that water, be prepared to swim. Hey, if you touch that fire, be prepared to get burnt. Hey, if you do this, be prepared for the repercussions. Like, this is our job, is to tell people, listen, there's actions and there's consequences. This is your job as a parent. But in a dream, God was just basically showing me like this parent that was just really, really like holding on to this child. This child was ready to break free and set the world on fire. And it's almost like this parent was really holding them back because this parent could have been very nervous and scared for the child's life, which is very, 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 understandable. Like, I have a very close connection to my siblings, and for years I had to ask God to break that, because I used to my brother, when he got kicked out of my mom, so my mom kicked all her kids out at 18 years old. So I have 8 siblings. It's 9 of us. So the youngest child, we've been preparing him before he even turned 18. Like, bro, you need to get your plan together, blah, blah, blah. Some of us, we went straight off to college, so she didn't have a chance to kick us out. Some of us, she literally kicked them out on their birthday. She don't give no fucks. Okay, y'all should know how my mama is already. All right. So I was basically trying to prepare my youngest sibling before it took place. Right. Because now we done got to number 9 and he finna be 18. This was way back in like 2020 or 2021. Boom. He did not listen. My mama kicked him out. He wasn't prepared. I let him come move in my house for about a year. But this man wasn't doing shit that he said that he was going to do. He was lying about having a job, all of this stuff. So it felt like I was actually enabling him to be a bum or him being lazy because he felt like, oh, he have somebody to back up on. See, the thing is, people need to understand, especially young boys that are becoming men, they need to understand that no, everything is not free. Yes, you see me taking care of a home, but you don't understand how much actually goes into that home. Yeah, you're hungry, right? You into my house eating all my groceries in the fridge, but you're not realizing that's about $300 every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even more. You get me? You turning on this light or whatever, you flushing, you washing up and stuff, not realizing I have to pay for that water. I have to pay for that light. You know, so it's one of those situations where we can't enable people. We got to show them that, no, you know, this is part of life. I make it look easy because I have it under control. You know, parents, we made it look easy. Y'all parents made it look easy. But it's time for you to, you know, guide your child and let them know it's not that easy. You know, I make it look easy because I love y'all and I love, you know, my life. I love having children and God made a way for me and he still continues to make a way. But every day it wasn't easy, you know. Maybe parents need to be more open with their children sometimes, letting them know, like, you know, every day ain't easy. Some days I'm like, damn, I don't have no extra spending money. Some days, you know, I got to put all the money with bills and I got to eat a little cheap for the week because I got to wait till next, you know, flow or something like that. Or, you know, tell your child how, you know, it's important to budget and save. And sometimes you can't just splurge out on things because you're really out here trying to budget and save for something greater or something good, you know, or just saving for a rainy day. It's like God is saying, just prepare this person. Just learn to, you know, prepare this person and mold this person to be a stand-up person. You know, teach them about honesty, teach them about integrity and respect, you know, how to be loyal, how to be dedicated, because these are core values that you need just to even get closer to God, to get closer to your higher self so that you know exactly the path that God needs you to be on. You know, teach your child to always be truthful, to be honest, to be authentically them, you know, to only be in spaces that they feel comfortable where they can tell that people love and support them. Don't work for bosses that hate people. Don't work for nobody that hate them. You get what I'm saying? These are the things that you should teach them. Don't be in no relationship with someone that don't truly love you, that someone that is not committed to you, someone that wants to play around with you and have multiple other partners. No, you walk away from people like that. You love yourself too much. You know, you don't go and settle for bullshit. You go and get the big dogs. You go for the highest league, the highest paying, whatever it is. You know, this is what we should be telling children, you know, so that they're able to go out and procreate in the universe in a way that God needs them to, because you've already given them the guidelines that they need to succeed in the real world. You get it? Not so much nagging, not so much controlling, and more of guidance. We're just guiding them until they find their ways back to God. You got it? Because God is their person. God is their father. You may be their mother. You birthed them for earth. But, you know, God is really where it's at. They're really a child of God. So give it back to God. Your child is grown and they want to go another way and you're not too sure of it. You're scared. You crying. You sad. Listen, you pray and you say, God, I trust you. Take good care of my child. I trust you. Protect my child. But, you know, let them learn the lessons that they need to learn. Help them to become the woman that they want to become, or help them to become a man that they need to become. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to release something and pray about it. God will listen to your prayers. Trust me. Your child may go through some things, but God will probably have it where the devil can't actually hurt them. You know, confirmation may be like a Job situation, to teach them some integrity, to teach them to always be faithful and honest to God, you know, to always still have that faith. You feel me? But they may be getting stripped from things. They may, you know, go into a relationship and then they regret it and things happen in that relationship. But at the end of the day, that's who they wanted to go towards. So that's the lesson that they needed to figure out with that person. You're just here, you know, hey, I still love you. I'm your mom. Yes, you can come over. I'll give you a hug. Yes, you can come over. I'm going to cook your favorite meal. Yes, you can stay over for the week if you need to. Shit, if you need to move back home because you don't went through a divorce or breakup, I got you. I'm here. I'm your backbone. You get what I'm saying? But I am going to let you go out and explore and find you and who you are and who God needs you to be on earth. Because again, even though this is your child, they still have their own mission. Imagine if Mary was trying to control Jesus and Jesus wasn't able to go out and be who God created Jesus to be. I hope that really registers in your head. Mary was only there to guide Jesus. Imagine she was telling Jesus, no, you can't go there. No, you can't go to the church. No, you can't go there. No, where are you going? Stay home. No, I don't want you doing that. Nope, stay home. Actually, I want you to go get a job and work with the family business. This is all you're supposed to be doing. Imagine Mary was trying to control Jesus when Jesus have a plan that God already made for the world. Put your child in Jesus' boat. Your child, God already have a plan for your child. So don't try to control them and tell them what you want them to do. It needs to be something that God wants them to do. Now, if God is telling you to tell your child to do this, or this is something they may be interested in, then go ahead, pass the message. But there's a difference. And I hope you guys understand the difference that I'm speaking on here. All right, I am going to end this message right here. I love you all, like always, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye.